Boston College has an amazing class, top 20 on 247 right now. Alex Agrella is going to tell us why Boston College has some really special players coming in this year.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College. I am your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider. This is Locked On BC. We are a daily Boston College podcast. We've done this for 5 years. If you're looking for Boston College news, you're in the right place. I'm the host and the editor of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 network. If you want Boston College news, you know where to go. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Use the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. We got a special episode with you today. We're going to dive locally into recruiting. Who are the guys BC has? Who are the guys that BC are targeting? We're going to find out who they are and why they would be great fits for BC, or why BC should be targeting them in the first place. So let's introduce our guest for today's show. He is the editor of the recruiting board. He's the owner of the recruiting board. It's someone I've been talking to a long time, and I'm really glad to have him on. It's Alex Agrella. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing good, AJ. A huge fan of the show and everything you do. So when you reached out and asked me, you saw I couldn't say yes fast enough. So I'm very happy to be on Locked On. For the people who really know, I just said I pulled over and I'm in North Quincy, Massachusetts to be here on this podcast. So everyone subscribe to my man.
So Alex he's diehard, as he just said. I texted him a couple hours ago. I was like, you know what? I want to talk about local recruits. I know who I want to talk to. I talked to Alex. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to pull over and do it. And as you can see, he's over at a rest stop right now to talk about BC recruiting. So let's get into this, because Alex is going to give you the local perspective here. Let's talk about the guys that they have. Who do you want to talk about first, Alex? Is there one recruit that BC has landed that really gets you excited?
Oh, well, first off, all of them. If I want to personally shout out, I assume Bill O'Brien watches these, and I hope he does see this because he's done a tremendous job. You know, I mean, if we just start in the 25 class fast, I love that he picked up Bo McCormick last minute. He, to me, was the best high school player I've seen in Massachusetts career-wise. And I think his statistics back it up. He's going to be a great culture guy for them. I think he'll be a 4-year guy in terms of a special teams player, and he will get on the field eventually a running back. I have a lot of confidence in him, and Makai Dodd as well. Micah Amity, their class, they did such a great job in the 25, but to go to the 26, dude, again, I'm really happy with what they've been able to do, but it all starts with the kid I just saw, like not even an hour ago, Dominic Funk. Dominic Funk, AJ, is destructive, chaotic. He is a madman coming off that edge and has been dominant ever since his freshman year. And there aren't a lot of players that, when the time they graduate, will be a 4-year varsity starter. Think about that. And he's had that. Like, I've never seen a game where he hasn't had a sack. And I've never seen a game where he hasn't forced a fumble. That's true. That's all true. He has forced a fumble in every single game. The get off, the speed, how he can use his hands. It's one of those things, you as an offense, you have to plan around him. Having him coming off that edge for a high school, kid, it's just, you're going to get worked. You're going to get absolutely worked. And I just talked to him, and he actually opened up more to me about why he chose BC, and it was about development. And, obviously he has a long pedigree of family history there as well, but he has a lot of confidence in what Bill O'Brien's going to be able to do for him as a player. and what the defensive staff is going to do. And I'm very interested to see if they're able to kind of, because obviously he can get to the quarterback. That's, what he's been doing in high school and what he'll do in college, undoubtedly so. But what are they? Can I start putting him in coverage a little bit?
Mm,
He's not really asked to do that a whole lot, and at Zavarian, but he can. He can move now. He was moving really well today, and he's gotten bigger. He's put on, I think he said like 15 pounds since the season ended, and not a bad 15 pounds now, a good 15 pounds. Like
yep.
not
Yep.
not the 15 pounds I put on.
Not the chicken fingers and mozzarella stick 15 pounds, right?
How'd you know what I had for dinner? But Dom, it all
Yeah.
starts with him. He's a phenomenal player.
And I want to jump in as just someone who's visited and seen him at visits at BC and seen him at practice. He's a leader in this class. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what he's jumped into. Like I've seen him with guys from across the country at every practice on scrimmages and everything like that. Dom Funk is like he's out there with the other defensive line guys that have not committed yet. He has already taken that leadership role, and I think that's super important. So Alex, what else you got?
I mean, so now we got to move into Mark Antolinos.
And Antunes.
Antunes, excuse me. I'm sorry,
Yeah, it's all
Mark. I,
good.
I just call him Mark. That's my guy. And AJ, so, when he commits to BC, because I've been covering Catholic Memorial now, they're, they'll tell you there's not a big game they play in that I'm not there.
Yep.
So I go to every big game. And when he committed to BC, I was kind of like, wait, not who is he, but I wasn't very familiar with who he was. And that year prior, they had Gerby Lambert and they had Sullivan, who ended up going to Harvard. And they were the two anchors on the line, really. But then I see him come out against against their first week. I'm going to say it wrong. Why am I blanking on it? Cardinal Hayes. Cardinal Hayes. Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh.
Of New
Like,
York, right?
I see him come out. I go, oh my God. Like the size, the frame, like how he can move. I understood 100% why they were able to go and offer him. And like, because he's one of those kids, without a doubt, if you develop him, he's going to be a starter for you
Mm,
without question. Everything is there. Everything is there. Like, shoot, I even was like, maybe he cuts weight. You could go put him on a tight end. Like, that's the type of frame we're working at. And CM has done such a great job of developing their linemen, specifically these past couple years. But Mark, he stands out so physically whenever you see him. Just the presence, and his feet have gotten a lot better since he first started playing football. But that he was, I believe, their first commit in the class, if I'm not
yep.
mistaken.
You're correct, Alex. Yep.
Yeah, I keep
Yeah.
up. I keep up now. I told you, I'm a fan.
Yep. Yeah. And when I watched him too, he's a guy that I look at and go, he's big, but he can get bigger. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
room on that frame, college room, like healthy weight to put onto him that's going to make him a massive tackle. Like he's got a lot to build up to.
Oh, undoubtedly, undoubtedly. I think that with Mark, that college weight room,
Yep.
like that first year, I want to see what he looks like after just a year in a college weight room because, I mean, physically, everything is there. It's just now investing that time. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's an all ACC tackle for them one day.
That is impressive. Now, Alex has much more. This BC has been so into the local recruiting that Alex is going to get some new other names that we're looking at and other names that have been committed. We got to talk about Brady Beckenhouse, Dean Brooks-Knightis. We got to talk about Mac Fitzgerald. Alex is going to have some thoughts on each of those in just a moment. There's nothing like the NBA playoffs. The intensity, the buzzy breeders, the fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere that you must live. And this year's matchups are already delivering, whether it's the Celtics and Knicks or other games that you're watching. If you want in, Game Time makes it fast and easy to get seats. You want to get to that Game 7 for the Celtics? If you think it's going to happen, You need to check it out. They got kill last minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees. I love, and I've told you before, when I take my family to a BC game, they have a exact view. I don't have any surprises. They tell me exactly what we're going to get, and they got zone deals, 60% off. So I'm going to save. I'm going to get my family to a game. It's amazing. The NFL schedule just dropped, and you better believe I'm already looking at my fall calendar for the Patriots and picking which games to hit. You're going to find great seats for as low as $100 thanks to exclusive discounts. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. I spelled that right. For $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider, and I got Alex Agrella here. We're talking BC recruiting. And Alex, who do you want to talk about next?
So let's talk about the kid I just saw on Tuesday as well. The man out in Williston, Dean Ruxnitis. Another early commit for them. I think he was. He announced not too much longer after Griffin Collins. I know that.
Yep.
For the 26 class, but man, Dean, I'm telling you, leader. I watched him at his Williston showcase the other day. Those kids really gravitate towards him. And, outside, of course, he moved well and, he looks good. He's a great kid. But that was the first thing I kind of recognized about him was his teammates really respect him. And when it comes to recruiting, there are, people look at measurables and all that. And Dean might be somebody, I mean, he's a big kid. He's, 6'2", 6'3", but he might not be somebody that like goes, oh my God, he's not like Mark. Mark walks into a room and everybody goes, who's that? Right. And Brady too. Brady too. But you know who Dean does remind me of? Chris Snee. Chris Snee, the same type of guy, though. Everybody was like, oh, he's a 6'3" guard, 6'3" guard. Well, add all pro to that as well. Who they developed under Tom Coughlin, old school, just a really tough guy. And that is Dean. Like, I'll tell you, I saw them play one game this year. It was against Phillips Exeter Academy, who they have another commit on there as well, who's a dude. But, Dean, they were able to run that ball right down Phillips Exeter, and that doesn't happen to them. But if you look at where it was going his side of the field. So that's something about him that I love. And not only that, but he said in my interview with him, I don't know if you saw that on Twitter.
I did. I watched it. Yep.
Right. He's going to, they play him at multiple positions. Like his goal is to go to college and wherever they're going to throw him, he's going to play there and he's going to have experience doing it. And I think that just shows the type of kid he is too. He wants to go in ready and he's going to develop. And again, I think he's a great product of what Bill is doing. The local guy that might be a tad, an inch under, what somebody might think is like the ideal. But, he is going to be a tremendous asset to that locker room. And again, Chris Snee, people said the exact same thing about him. And I'm pretty sure there was a lineman that the Patriots picked that, there was some measurable questions. And I think he's doing just fine as well.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about all these guys, the through line through all of this, Bill O'Brien definitely has a huge part in all of this. But it's Jonathan DiBiaso. Jonathan DiBiaso has been the key for many of these local recruits. His dad is the coach at Catholic Memorial. He has, I know from my perspective, from a recruiting perspective, I talked to a lot of these kids. All of them bring up John. What kind of role has DiBiaso played when you've talked to a lot of these kids too in terms of their recruitment?
I tell you, I just saw him, and nobody works like Dib, it's some hyperbole, but not really. That guy is all around. He is so into the Massachusetts culture. And it's funny because him and I go back because we're the same year. But when I was in high school, he was lighting up the MIAA, you know?
Yes.
So I remember reading articles about Jonathan when I was, when we're the same age, you know?
Yep.
So but that's who he is in terms of like, he is so into the Massachusetts culture that to me, there's no surprise he is where he is because of how important the state is to him.
Yeah.
And he's done a tremendous job with these kids. Every single one of them will tell you if they're committed. Jonathan DiBiaseo had some sort of role in their recruitment. And it's because, he wants a relationship with every high school coach. He wants a relationship with the media. He's always trying to find ways to make BC better and find the kids that are local, under the radar guys that would be BC fit. So I love that question because I have a lot of, I have a tremendous amount of respect for the work he does. And not only that, but he's not just the head Massachusetts guy. I made the joke to him the other day. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I saw him he was at a football game in Utah this fall. And
Yep.
the guy's my age and he's traveled all around the world and so I'd say he has got a huge role in that and he's doing a tremendous job with these high school coaches too and I can tell you that that's not just from me, that's from the perspective of almost every single high school coach I've talked to in the state and up into New Hampshire and Massachusetts and Maine. Like he's got
Yep.
those relationships as well.
Yep. At Phillips, I mean, he played at Phillips Exeter, so he knows
Hmm.
the coach there. That helped him get Merrick Jen. But as you mentioned, like he's also like he is the guy in Massachusetts, but he's also the guy in California. Like they
Yeah.
have him doing recruiting work out in California, so you hear about quarterbacks out there, but also guys in other positions, and he's opening doors for BC everywhere. That's what Jonathan DiBiaseo is doing. One guy that he definitely did a big part with is I believe he's an all-state wrestler, is Brady Beckenhuis.
Yes.
Tell me about Brady, because that's a name I think a lot of folks want to know about.
First off, I love the fact he wrestles.
Yeah, yeah.
I love the fact he wrestles. Brady is a beast, an absolute beast. And, I also want to shout out Brady because, and I'm in the prep school world too.
Yep.
I'm a prep school expert, as most would say. And Brady is Brady had a lot of opportunities to leave, but Brady was not going to leave Arlington High School because he knew what he meant to that community, and he knew he could get exactly where he wanted to be, which is BC from Arlington. And I think Brady, to me, is a classic example though of why development is so important because he's coming. Arlington, they have a very strong football program. His coach is great. I know him well. It's just one of those things, though. I look at Brady and I see some Ozzie Trapillo in him. Ozzie's a tad bit bigger, but the athleticism, the size, the speed, it was all there. It was all there. And with Brady, I mean, first off, he's a great kid. He's a leader. And athletically, he's going to wow you in terms of what he can do. How he can move his body as a wrestler alone is, I think, those BC coaches probably watched his stuff and was like, he can translate some of that to the field
Mm,
because there is some translation. I mean, how you move your hips, how you move your feet, how you can, flex, ultimately how your flexibility is. And so that's all there. And with Brady too, I think his feet, once they develop even more, like he's going to be, I mean, you could even stick him in at guard, move him inside if you had to. I mean, and heck, I think with his athleticism, I don't, they probably won't, right? They probably won't. Try him on defense.
yeah,
Try
yeah,
him. Try him. I don't think they would just because his reps are all on offense, but I'm just saying, it would not surprise me if maybe you could try him out on defense a little bit, but the project is all there. He's a leader, athleticism through the roof, and loyalty. Like I don't see this kid if he has some success or whatever, I don't see him going, well, I could go make whatever money wherever, you know? He's not going to do that. Like, that's not the type of kid he is. And it shows by, again, his loyalty to Arlington High School, who's a Division 5 team, but he knew he could get to those schools, and he got Rutgers and Syracuse and other offers. And, you know, those people don't just offer those types of scholarships and to Division 5 schools all the time. But Brady's a special one, and he's going to be a culture guy. And that's one thing I like to really emphasize. He's a culture guy. He'll never leave. And it would not surprise me if he's a draft pick either.
Oh man, this is great stuff. I was thinking we're gonna get Alex on here. He's gonna give us all. He knows the ins and outs of local recruiting, and this is what we're getting. Now, in our final segment, I'm gonna ask Alex about two guys, Carter Gooden and Marky Walbridge, guys that have not committed to BC but are major targets for Boston College. Why are they so important? Alex is gonna have an answer to that in just a moment. The days are getting longer, the weather's warming up, and people are spending more time outside, which means it's the perfect time to refresh your outdoor space. Whether you're working with a big outdoor backyards or a small balcony, Wayfair has everything you need to make it more for you. Wayfair's massive selection of outdoor essentials makes it easy to transform any space into your ideal summer setup. From comfy conversation sets to sleek dining room tables and outdoor decor, they get it all and at prices that fit for you. I'm telling you guys, I'm getting myself ready to get a solo stove for my backyard. My family, they love little fire pits. The solo stove is perfect. I need the furniture to go around it, and I know where to go to get that. And it's going to be Wayfair. Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture right now online. This summer, get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Check that out today. Welcome back. This is Locked On Boston College. I am your host, AJ Black, and thank you all who are everydayers who have listened to Locked On Boston College 5 days a week. We are 5 days a week for Boston College. If you're not going to find us anywhere else. And I wanted to get special guests on here, and Alex Agrella is the perfect guest. So if you've not checked out our other episodes, we had Mitch Wolf talking about BC ins and outs of their schematic play. We're going to have more guests. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and check out Locked On ACC when you get a chance after this episode. So let's get Alex back on here. Alex, there are two names BC fans are dying to find more about. Who do you want to talk about first? Carter Gooden or Marky Walbridge?
Well, I got to talk about my 2024 Defensive Player of the Year, and that's Carter Gooden. Because, you know, you, I'm glad he finally got put up because I've been saying it, and I was talking to my friend he coaches at Virginia, and he asked me about Carter, and I go, Coach, I don't understand how he's not higher on these rankings because that kid right there is one of the most physically dominant players I have ever watched play a high school football game. And I used to live in Alabama. I've seen some dudes play football, like Talia Tagovailoa. I've seen draft picks play before. Carter Gooden could and probably will be a draft pick one day as long as everything checks out for him. I mean, size, the speed, the hand violence. I mean, to me, too, I think, he'll make his money at edge, obviously. But you see his frame and you're just like, he's not even someone that's completely filled out yet, but you could play him today. Like,
Yep.
I'm serious about that. I feel like you could put Carter Gooden against an ACC, SEC tackle, and he would be dominant. Like, well,
Wow.
every freshman's gonna, have some growing pains, but he could, like, look at Boubacar Traore, who went out to Notre Dame. He had a sack as a true freshman against Caleb Williams. Like, I think that he's that type of player in terms of you could play him in long rush situations as a true freshman, and he can do some damage. And also, might be able to kick him inside a little bit as well. If
Yep.
he adds on the weight, you can kick him inside. And the game I saw him play, it was against BB&N. And if you've never seen BB&N play, it was a perfect for a Bo McCormick because they ran the hell out of the ball. And you have to be tough when you're playing BB&N, you know how tough someone is. That kid, I've never seen a defensive lineman dominate against BB&Ns. Like, BB&N has a strong line. Like, they'll probably have, I think, 3 offensive linemen this year go D1. Probably that Ivy level type of player.
Yep.
But he was giving them work all night, completely shut down one side of the field. Like, and it was the only time I saw him. He amazed me how dominant a defensive lineman could be. And I've told plenty of people, I said, if I'm BC, do everything you can. Do everything you can. Invest the resources you can because he's a little bit bigger than Anzaraku. Like he's
Yeah.
6'4", around that. But I think he could be a defensive lineman that gets drafted from BC. I have that much confidence in
Wow.
Carter Gooden as a player. Oh, absolutely. Like,
Wow.
absolutely. The tape says it. And I'm telling you, these coaches that are recruiting him are saying the exact same thing to him. Nothing I'm saying is anything he shouldn't know. Like, he's
Yep.
a tremendous player.
Yeah, so he's right now. So, folks, if you do not know the recruiting background, he's already checked out. He had an official visit to UCLA. He has an official visit to Arizona State this weekend. What Alex brought up that I thought was really important is he can play inside or edge, and from what I've heard, is Penn State is offering him as an interior defensive lineman. BC is looking at him as an edge rusher. Honestly, if I'm BC, I'm offering him whatever he wants. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if he wants to play interior, if he wants to play edge, and I've heard Carter wants to play more of the edge, so you got to do that. But the other name that BC is looking at, and we're running out of time, so we're going to get into this, is Marky Walbridge. And this is a name that BC fans have been well acquainted with. Obviously, his sister played with the soccer team. He's a guy that's got Big Ten offers. He's an offensive tackle, I think 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah.
A really important offer and a recruit for BC. What have you seen, Alex, of him? Because he's been quiet. He's a quiet dude.
He's a very quiet dude. And from what I think about Markey, I think he wants this to be over, because he's all about his business.
Yep.
And again, similar to Funk, he steps on the field as a freshman and he's playing. Like, everything is there with Markey. Everything from size, speed. I'll tell you what really impresses the college coaches, though, is his lateral movement. How he can move from side to side, how his feet, he's got dynamic feet. He was a really good basketball player before he committed all the football. And, like, it would not surprise me. Again, he's very quiet with how he moves and all that. Wouldn't surprise me if he could just windmill dunk it, though. And that's the type of kid he is. But then again, I was talking to some of the coaches I know, and they go, I mean, talk about a kid who's not even scratched the surface physically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so much work in a good way to be done with him. Like,
Yep.
So no matter who gets him, like that college meal plan, he's going to come in, he's going to gain a bunch of weight, and they get his athleticism right. He's going to be a dangerous player on that line. But so to describe him, the upside, the ceiling, it's so high on Markey. And he's such a quiet kid. He's had the spotlight on him literally since he stepped foot on a football field. Like,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he got his first offer as a freshman. So, I think for him, he's going to have a lot of experience going in too. But whoever gets him is going to get a really athletic lineman. And there aren't too many of those. Like, well, there's plenty, but you know what I mean. That look like him,
Yeah.
6'7", it's tough.
Yeah, and the thing with Markey is he hasn't done all those camps. That's what usually gets like 247 and Rival and Under Armour and all those things. He's kind of floated. That's why he's not a 4-star. And it's not on him. It's just he's been quiet. And it's up to the coaching staff. They've seen what they need to see out of him, and they want him. So my last question to you, Alex, Carter and Markey, where do you think BC stands with both of them?
So Markey, I've been seeing his crystal ball to
Michigan.
Michigan. Yep. With that said, so is Drew Kendall.
Right. Right.
So is Drew Kendall.
Yep.
And I think as time goes on, and I don't know Markey too well, but I'll say this, he goes to a day school. You know, he goes to a day school. He's not a boarder.
Yep.
Hey, to me, Marky, that sounds like, you don't have to go too far away from Hanover, man. Like, that's where you're from. Um, I think there's still some enticement there.
I-
But again, he's so quiet about his recruitment. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, AJ.
no. I was going to agree with you. I was going to say, to me, him especially, I think people don't give BC enough credit for where they're at. I think BC's in better shape than people give them credit to.
Yeah, no
And
doubt.
and Carter, I think it's gonna to me for Carter, and I don't know where you're at. I think it's a two team race. It's BC and Penn State. I think, and I think it's gonna come down to, does he want to play interior, or he's just open to whatever Penn State offers, or is he really stuck? Is he really interested in that edge role? And maybe he will go to BC. But I think for BC, Carter Gooden, as you said earlier, this is a game-changing recruit that BC needs to land.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think they're in it. I really do because, you know, Carter got a bunch of offers. Like, I think he had A&M at one point, and by the way, he got offers before he even came to the States, which is amazing. But, you know, for BC to still be in it this late in the game, you know, I think that they have a real good chance. And the time I met Carter, he does seem just like a guy. I think he wants what's best for him, in terms
Yep.
of development. And I mean, that's why he went to Tabor, and like was what was good for his development as well. And, there he had other options as well to go other places. But I think that Anzaraku getting drafted shows,
Yep.
like you can go there, you can get developed, you have a productive year. Like there are people that think Anzaraku should have gone the first round, like you and I, right?
Yep.
Like
I'm right here. Right here.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly. And I think that that's proving that helps.
Yep.
So for them to be this late in the game and him to be visiting, I think that they do have a good chance at him. And I think it would be a tremendous win for the BC class and the coaching staff if they do get him.
All right, Alex, we're running out of time because this is a daily podcast. Where I want people to follow you, because you've been incredible. This is you've been an amazing guest. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can hit me up at Alex Agrella RB on X. My YouTube channel is Recruiting Board as
Yep.
well. If you just want to keep up with some of the local stuff that I do, I go to all the best. If there's the best game in the state, I'm gonna be there. So if you want to see some football content, local, see some of these guys we were just talking about, you can find it here on my Recruiting Board.
So definitely, folks out there, check out Alex's Twitter handle. Get him. It's going to be in our show notes. I will get his YouTube page on there. Make sure you check out Alex's work. Follow me on Twitter as well as at AJBike247. Alex, we're going to have you back on again. You were an amazing guest. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for stopping at, where were you? At Roy Rogers? No, not Roy Rogers.
North Quincy. I'm at the North Quincy Citizens Bank.
Citizens Bank. It's not as good as Roy Rogers, but that still works. Alex, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you. And again, for our everydayers, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And we'll see you all again on Monday for another episode. We're getting into official visit season here on Locked On Boston College, your team every day.